skill have you got that you have learned in the diaspora that you can bring into Africa? The UK is bad vibes. You're eating fufu, you're eating bonku, you're listening to and growing up on Kojo Inchi and Amachi Dede. Hello lovelies and welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to see you guys back today for a sit down chit chat video. I'm not in Ghana, so I can't really continue Ghana based content, but I'll be going back soon. And in the meantime, I'm like, how can I keep the conversation of Africa still flowing on this channel? Because people are obviously quite excited about it. I've been showing you properties, I've been showing you businesses, I've even been showing you a bit of lifestyle, just in general. But now I wanted to sit down and just talk to you about how Ghana is changing my life and how it can potentially change yours. Now, I would say this from the get-go, darlings, that Ghana is not perfect. I feel like I just need to make that disclaimer because oftentimes where creators who are like pro-Africa start talking about Africa, there tends to be feedback where you know that it's not all luxury and lavishness, and I agree, okay? So we are just disclaiming the fact that it's not perfect there. It's not perfect where you are either, hun. But it's certainly not perfect there. And so you guys know where the journey started with me. I started going again after 16 years, last year, April. And I met with an old friend who was still on this Ghana hustle, who had come from the UK. In fact, a few of them. Who we went uni together, and I'd done like internships with and stuff like that back in the day. And I'm like, you still on this Ghana hustle, honey? Something sweet is in the water. Please give me more, because it'll be interesting to understanding more of what you're doing. I think it's a matter of what skill have you got that you have learned in the diaspora that you can bring into Africa. Now, this isn't just for Ghana. Let me just also state this. I have so many wonderful, fabulous Africans who are watching me from Kenya, from Zimbabwe, from South Africa, from Nigeria. Welcome, Akwaba. Welcome to my channel. But I want to speak about Ghana because that's where I'm from, that's where I've been going. And just knowing you can take this advice to if you're going back home. A lot of our parents, especially us, what are we first gen or second gen? I always get that mixed up. Please correct me. But whatever generation I am from the millennials, and my mom and my dad migrated to Ghana in the 70s. So that will make me a first generation diaspora, I believe, right? And then I have children now, and I've got a grandniece. Did I tell you guys that? So my niece has a child, so we're building legacies, okay? But I say all that to say is, when you come over to, the European places or the USA, you pick up so much of the culture of what you're being raised in, even in the household, you're eating fufu, you're eating bonku, you're listening to and growing up on Kojo Inchi and Amachi Dede, but you are still going to school with your West Indian friend and coming back and saying wagwan. And you're eating curry goat and rice at your friend's house, and you pick up, so especially Londoners, we pick up so much. But one of the greatest things that I think is an advantage for us in a diaspora is having the opportunity to have more opportunities than that we get back home. So what skill do you have? Number one, what skill do you have that can be beneficial in the Ghanaian going back to Ghana? So, for example, I had Neil Oku on my channel recently, who is the owner of Golden Coast Developers, a property developer, and he was selling apartments, Heritage 100, and he was born and raised in America. And again, him venturing back to Ghana ever so often, he got exposed to culture and saw the landscape of the property market. And within 6 years, this man basically he absolutely transformed an aspect of the property market. Why? Because he took that skill of real estate over to Ghana and developed that. What skills do you have? as a medical profession, as a enthusiast in, I don't know, a cooker, a cook, a hairdresser, a beautician. I have a friend called Yasmin. Hey, Yaz. I met Yasmin years ago, and she was in that, doing she was assisting in doing makeup. She's now got a studio in Laboni, East Legon. She went back to Ghana, and she's got a very lovely beauty salon there. Absolutely amazing. I did my hair there when I was in Ghana. There are so many ways where you can utilize your skills that you've learned in the developed world, or the diaspora as it is, and bring it back home. So number one is your skill set is needed back home. I don't want us to neglect that. But one thing I want you to factor in is there is a bit of a difference in lifestyle. And there's number one, what you need to do and understand is, first of all, you need to respect the culture. Okay? No, they don't do things how we do things in the UK and the USA, but they do it to their standard and it works for them. So although it's not quite perfect and it's perhaps a little bit frustrating sometimes, one of the key things I had to learn in Ghana was almost change my mindset, which is difficult because your mindset is your mindset, and a lot of us work towards having the mindset that we have. But changing my mindset and understanding somebody else's mind who is a local and a native really helped me just get through my journey of obviously being in Ghana. So just bear that in mind. It's not going to go according to how you're used to, but you have to have a bit of respect for the culture. And then on top of that, even if you have something, dare I say, better to offer, how are you going to portray that without being too cocky and being like, my version's better than yours? Now, I can't even lie. There may be some times where you have to be like, what are you doing there? As for this, I'm ready to lock you off quickly. You might have to be firm sometimes. Absolutely. Because otherwise anyone will take the piss. Even in the UK that happens, isn't it? So just be mindful of that. I know that being a YouTuber, for example, is something I can do globally. I probably can go to China and be like, hey, I've moved to China, and be a Chinese vlogger and all that. Not quite Chinese, but you get what I mean. It's possible. So I personally taken my skills set into a community where perhaps could be developed was an advantage for me. My influence and my platform is global, and thank God for that. So going back with the Boateng name really set me apart. And I'm so thankful for that. I know it's not easy to go in and have meetings with, at the president's office, or, at investment promotion center and all of these major government institutions. That is not easy to wean yourself into. But all the same, I think the key thing, as I said, is grasping your skill and what you learn and bringing it back home. I would say that living in the UK can be a very mundane and depressing experience. Some may argue and say I'm ungrateful for that, but I know what I'm talking about. Following the pattern for the past year of when I'm here in the UK versus when I'm back home, I feel so much more alive and happy there. I take joy and pride in visiting Kona, Kumasi, where I'm from, even my visit to Techiman in the Brahapa region, going to Accra, going to Cape Coast. I even went to the Volta region for the first time. And, is it the sunshine? Is it the food? Is it the people? What is it that attracts me back there? And I will tell you what it is. I feel like I am deep rooted in a place where I belong. I find a lot more happiness and peace and just excitingness when I go back to Ghana. I previously mentioned in a video that we are in a huge transition process globally. And I don't know if I gave you kind of more of a bigger picture of what that is. Like right now this year, we are even selecting a new president in Ghana, there is going to be a change, whether the same president remains or we get a new one on the new party. The same as just happened in the UK. A whole new prime minister and a whole new government has come in. The USA, they're just about to elect a whole new prime minister, or sorry, president, and potentially a new party. I hope you're seeing the dynamic shift globally and why this might be a good time to perhaps, if you're thinking of making a transition into Africa, start with that. Do you get what I mean? Or at least start doing your research now. Key, do your research, visit a few times, and then perhaps even from next year when things are a bit more settled globally, everyone's found their feet. Hopefully the financial market's picked up. Hopefully even the property market's picked up. I know right now, for example, I'm selling properties on my channel and, sharing with you guys the various options of properties and stuff and what to invest in. But you might just, again, want to do your research first before you invest into that. Although, a lot is selling like hotcake, if I'm being honest, since I've been putting my videos out there. But you do need to know as well that there is options on actually making the right choice for you. Visit, research, have conversations, come a bit obsessed with it. Really look into what it is like to live in Accra or live in Tema or live in Kumasi. There are options, and I think it's very important to just assess them all before you make any drastic step or move or change. Also, as a diasporan, what else are you doing to give back to Africa? I am setting up my charity. Finally, we are here. Chanel Boateng Foundation is officially here. I've registered it and I am so excited for this venture. I feel like I've been working my whole entire life for this, and the initial stages or initial initiatives we're working towards are based on children and an orphanage that is based in my hometown in Kona, Kumasi. I'm raising funds that's our first approach. I'm not sure if we've opened up for donations to be received yet, but I will be doing so many fundraising campaigns and donations and stuff on the platform. Please stay tuned with that. I'm going to take you guys to Kona. Okay, you're coming to my hometown in Kumasi. You may meet some of my family who are chiefs and queen mothers and all sorts of exciting stuff. And this process of giving back is actually very fulfilling. And when you're coming back when you're moving in from the diaspora or from the world outside of Africa back in, have something to give, because there's very little there. I saw an influencer who was ranting about not giving back because it can be draining, but I personally have differing views on that. I think we are privileged and honored in this world we're in terms of, I know the UK can be draining and very depressing, but let's be honest, like, we have free healthcare. That's a start. And so we are at a bit of an advantage than an average local person who receives a lot less than you. And so it's nice to give back. It's nice to give. You receive by giving. And I had to learn that because I actually spoke on my Patreon about rejection and delays and how frustrating it can be. And the spirit had told me I need to give more, which is interesting because I had already set up the foundation and we're working towards, but it wasn't functioning. But I believe you receive by giving. And so what can you give back to Africa that is of a huge value to the locals? And I think it's very possible for us all to kind of chip in together, or even individually if you're not good at working with each other or in a team, and really put your input into Africa. It's actually mind-blowing. A part of me going back, I really was very intrigued to really rub shoulders with the elite. Purely because the elite have access. And with that access, I could use that in my own personal giving. It's not like I'm using anybody or manipulating or anything. Absolutely not. I just feel like there's opportunity to give in so many different fashions. And why not utilize the power that is in order to give and work with that? So even just observing the luxury space, the luxury fashion, the luxury skincare, the luxury beauty space in Ghana, very, very intriguing. I'm a lifestyle creator, right? I use these things. I am so excited to embrace my culture. Honey, I'd be listening to Adwa music in my car. My son is wearing a Ghana hat. And, you know, it's just, I was going to funerals with my Ubusiafo in Kona, in Kumasi. Various times I went to funerals. Come and enjoy the culture. Attend a couple of funerals. I had a bunch of condolences on the post that I posted on my Instagram where I went to a funeral with my family in Kumasi. And I'm just like, first of all, we do not even know the deceased, as sad as it is. You know, my family obviously visited the families of who had passed. Is a custom that has to be done. And I tagged along, you know, as a diasporan trying to understand how my family business works back home. Like, oh, this is what y'all do. Okay, I'm coming. Exciting. But it's a social affair, babes. Go to a couple of funerals. Like, if you go to, as in Ghana, like, it's a social event. Like, anyone can pull up, for real. It's not even an invite-only thing more time. You can actually go to a funeral and even you meet people, like, you network, literally. And again, don't be like, oh, that's rude. It's not rude to the natives and the locals. They love it. Again, don't come empty-handed though. Come with some sika, a little bit of, you know, just, you know, and come and embrace it and really feel the culture. Go to chop bars. It's not everyday Kempinski. Okay, it's not everyday move and pick. Go to a chop bar and eat fufu. Yeah, it's lovely. And also, Ghana is not just about Accra or Kumasi. There's so many different regions to explore. And again, if you are from Brahafo and you are in the UK and you've built something, what skill can you bring that to from UK to Brahafo and even start up a business? Buy a land, build something. I know it's not going to be overnight, but I hope this actually gets your mind thinking of what you can do to include into the continent. I'm sharing with you property videos. How can you invest? That is you investing in another African person's dream. I've coined a phrase on this channel. Hopefully no one else has, because it just came up with me one day. I never saw it anyway, but the African dream. How can you include into the African dream? Not just for yourself, but others as well. Moving back to Ghana is a process, or moving back to Africa is a process. But as I said, it's worth an investment. Now, if you've tried it before and you failed, because trust me, I've even got family members who like, I'm not doing it again. It's not for me, love. I completely understand that. And you never know. You might just start something and it might be okay for now, and then 10 years down the line, you're like, I'm done. Like, this really, I've done. But take lessons on the way. And investment is better than nothing, because some of the people I've spoken to said, I'm not going to live in Ghana anymore. However, I've got an Airbnb spot, or I've got a restaurant, or I've got a nightclub, literal. I have friends who are like, lifestyle in the day-to-day, I can't do it, but I've got some assets. At the very least, look at getting assets there. It's totally worth it. Dare I say, you guys, the UK is not easy. I know the saying goes, the UK is bad vibes. And as the Gen Z says, it's tapped. The UK is tapped. I'm so sorry, I'm joking. I'm just trying to say is, life is not all what we see. There is a whole world out there. And if you stumble across this video and you happen to not even be African, okay, like you could be an Asian who's like, there's opportunity even in your back home where you can go and invest into. Have you looked? We're so stuck in being where we are, and the system and the cycle of daily get up and 9 to 5 or go, even business owners, even if it's 3 a.m. you get up and you run your business or whatever, it's still a cycle. And so what are you doing to explore beyond the box? I advise you to just get out there, research, and do as you will to see where you can possibly fit in. So that is it from me, you guys, here, and you guys are coming along. I'm excited, and I hope you guys are as well. So we're going to end this vlog. I'll be interested to see your feedback, your comments, and everything else, and you'll see me on my next video.